Alrighty, this is a little video about completing the square. This is a problem I pulled from one of your assignments, or maybe I made it up. I honestly cannot remember, but that's okay either way. Completing the square is a problem where we need to find c. We have ax squared, we have bx, we are missing c. So I'm going to go through a couple problems of this type that you will see. Step one of complete the square is, if you can, pull out the GCF from A and B. Now, if A is negative, you need to be sure to pull out that negative as well. So my GCF is -4, leaving behind x squared minus 6x, and I have that blank spot for my C. Now, whatever we add in for that blank spot, we must also take away. It's a property of equality. We cannot just change something by adding it in there without taking it out. It would be like if we're solving for x in a problem like this. If we subtract 2 from one side, we subtract 2 from both sides. All right. So let's get started. To find c, you have a handy-dandy little formula. So c is equal to, and I guess this will be our step 2. C is equal to b over 2 squared. That will always get you c. So our b currently is -6. -6 over 2 squared, which means -3 squared. So what we're putting for c is 9. And whatever we add in, we must also take away. But what we take away, we must also multiply by our GCF, because we're not just adding in 9. 9's inside the parentheses that are being multiplied by -4. So we're taking away -4 times 9. So you're always taking away the thing that you're also adding, and you must always multiply by the GCF whenever you have one. Okay. Step 3, let's make this look a little nicer. -4 x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now we have outside here, this will be -36 minus a negative becomes a plus 36. The very last part is convert to vertex form. Now let me write this down and then I'll explain. You take the symbol from b and put it here, and then this is b divided by 2. That number always goes in this spot here. Now let me explain why with my little drawing I have over here. Let's pull this back towards the problem. Your vertex form, if you square your binomial here, should always result in what you originally had here. I think of it as a slinky. This is the slinky all stretched out. This is the slinky compressed back together. And here's the proof of that. X minus 3 times x minus 3. When we distribute everything out, we end up with x squared minus 6x plus 9, which is exactly what we had here. So to convert to vertex form, mimic the symbol that is for b, and then cut b in half and put it here. That will always get you your vertex form. That is how you complete the square. And this is called vertex form because your vertex for this parabola is 336. That's your horizontal and vertical movement. Just like your transformation formula from a couple sections back, this is naturally negative in the formula. Your vertex form formula, f of x equals a x minus h squared plus k. That should look really familiar because that's almost your transformation formula. H and k are your vertex. So let's move on to another example. Step 1, this one I kind of already laid out. If something's asking you to complete the square and it already looks like they have c, that's actually not c, it's an imposter c. What you need to do is shove that to the side and continue like you would normally. So you push away 53 and pull the GCF out of A and B, which in this case was just 2. Okay, that's a little messy. Let me rewrite that. we have b over 2 squared. So we have 12 over 2 squared, which is 6 squared, which gets us our 36. And again, whatever we add into the inside of the parentheses, we must also take away times the GCF, because we're not just adding in 36, it's 2 times 36. We take that away here. Next step, I always just simplify everything. I don't try and crunch things down to vertex form just yet, because the more you do in one step, the more possibility there are for mistakes. 2 times 36 is 72, but we are taking that away, so that's negative, leaving us with negative 19. And again, the trick from last problem. Copy the sign that's next to b, and cut b in half. That will be your vertex form. If the problem was asking for a vertex in this one, it would be 6 and negative 19. If you feel comfortable with this, by all means, you can stop this video. I want to go as long as I can to provide as many examples as I can, so I'm going to show you another one. This one's fairly large. 2x squared minus 44x plus 185. Again, if they're asking you to complete the square, they wouldn't give you something that's already done. So push that 185 to the side. Okay. And then pull out your GCF. Yeah, wow, this was really messy. Let's fix that up. Messy, messy, messy. Did you get over here? That's a little better. Okay, so when you are pulling the GCF out, always make sure it's just from A and B. So when you're finding C, you know that it has to be the B that had the GCF taken out of it. So that's negative 22 over 2 squared, which gets you negative 11 squared. And if you'll notice, this number will never be negative in here because it's always being squared. So that's 121. And again, what we add in, we must take away out here times the GCF. All right, simplify the outside just a bit. Again, take it step by step. Don't do too much at once. Copy your symbol from B and cut B in half, and that will give you your vertex form. All righty.